Okay everybody, please turn off your cell phones. We're going to get started. We've got lots of material to cover today, so let's get going with this one right here on the Facebook timeline changes. When we're talking about Facebook, first of all, you need to know that the changes are big, and although they are not as advantageous as they were, they are advantageous in other ways. And so that's the kind of things we're going to go over that I want you to see, because you've got to use social media now. You've got to. It's huge. Everybody's doing it. And if you don't think it's worth doing, then why is Coca-Cola, McDonald's, and all these doing it? So it's really important that you do it. So let's get started on it. So first of all, before I forget, I understand that we've been having some technical glitches, and I apologize for any of that happening, but we're going to do the best we can to make it working okay. Now, Facebook timeline for business. What you need to know. First of all, there are changes. So what has Facebook done? Well, the big changes. They have an image-centric layout. There's the timeline structure change, and there are new administrative controls and views, which we'll go over all this. What are the big changes? First of all, there's a greater focus on the user's friend activity vis-a-vis your page, which we'll show you here in a little while. There's a more prominent About section. This is pretty neat because here you can list your phone number, your website address, you can put in keywords and that type of thing. And what's really important about that is Google, the world's most used search engine, is using social media to decide if you should be ranking high or not. If people are liking your social media and spend a lot of time on it, Google knows that. And so you want to combine what you're doing with the social media inside of Google so that you get a better ranking. So social media also has a secondary effect in helping your website and such get ranked. Also, there are more controls on how posts are displayed, which is kind of interesting, but there are no more default landing page tabs, which we didn't like, but there are also advantages to the new system, which we will show you here shortly. So what are the specific changes? There's the cover photo. We can see now the views in the apps, which are pretty neat. You can see the friend activity. We can pin up our posts, which you'll see how to do that here in a little bit. We can star a post, we can hide a post, highlight them. We have an admin panel to see everything that's going on, which is really handy. And the activity log, which is really handy. And we can show milestones, which seems to be a pretty good feature for businesses. So are there new capabilities? The answer is a resounding yes. There's new reporting and management features in the admin panel and the activity log. Again, you can pin, star, and highlight posts. We can add milestones and look at the friend activity. Now here is an example of a cover photo for the new timeline here in Facebook. Of course, this is Starbucks. And this is an example of a new cover photo. The cover photo here is 810 pixels wide. And before, it was only, what I think it was 500 pixels or 510, something like that. So now you have a wider area, you can capture more attention. But there are things you cannot do on this cover photo, which we'll explain here in a minute. But what I want you to notice here is the photo basically implies what the business is about. So obviously here it is with Starbucks, we got coffee beans and that kind of thing. The next thing that's interesting are what called the views in the apps. Now, right down here you can see this is the new views in the apps area. This is an area where we can put applications. And what is an application? An application is, for lack of a better explanation, a kind of a program that will let you do different things. As for instance, you can have contests on your Facebook page that's designed to bring in more fans to your page, and they do that with an app as an example. Also, the friend activity, which is a neat little extra thing that Facebook has on here. This is an example of the area where the friend activity is. You can see what's going on by looking at your friend activity area. Next, here's the pinned post that I was talking about. When you make a post on your Facebook page, what you can do is pin it to the top. So it's sort of like taking a picture out of a photo album and putting it to the top so that when people come to that photo album page, they can see that that picture's at the top. So what you do here is as in this picture here, you click on that little pencil looking thing, and all you got to do is click on pin it to the top, and then it moves that post to the top. So why would you want to do that? Well, first of all, let's say you're having a sale. Let's say you're a hardware store, you're having a sale, and you made a little video of things you want people to see. So rather than that post get lost because there's more postings going on and pushing that post down, you can pin it to the top so it stays there so people can see it. You can take it down anytime you like, but if you pin it, it'll stay there for 30 days, and if you want it there longer, you can repin it again. So that's a kind of a pretty valuable little thing that Facebook did for us. Another thing you can do is star or hide a post. If there's a post on there you don't want people to see, you can hide it. However, if there's one you want to star it, you can star it, which means it'll make it prominent kind of in the middle of the page. So if people are looking all over your page, they can see that post. It's sort of another way to like pin a post, but it's not as prominent as a pin, but you can starring a post can make it stand out. So let's talk about highlighting a post. This is what a highlighted post looks like. It's very much like again a pinned post and such, but what it'll do is it will take your post and make it wide and kind of stick it on your page, and it gives you the ability to showcase something that you want to showcase. The disadvantage to this is it's not above the fold, meaning it's not immediately seeable when fans or visitors come to your page, but it's also a big picture that shows. So if you want to showcase, for instance, like let's say you're a car dealer and you're having a special on a certain kind of car, you can show the car there, and it really sticks out compared to all the other smaller posts. Another interesting feature for the Facebook is the admin panel. This is rather interesting because see down here below where it says Insights and it has these colored lines here. This gives you an idea of the interaction that's going on in your Facebook page, and you can tell how many people are seeing your posts, whether or not something you said on your fan page went viral. You can tell whenever you put something as a post, if people are looking at it, it tells you all kinds of information. So all you got to do is click on that area where the graph is, and it'll show you all that. Next is the activity log. This gives you an idea of the stuff that's been going on your fan page, so you can you can go back and look at it, and if you forgot what's been going on or what you've been doing or that kind of thing, you can look at that, which is pretty handy too. I don't use this part a lot, but I find myself having to go back and review things now and then, so it can be handy. Next, milestones. Here is what a milestone looks like. What's interesting about this is it's sort of displayed prominently, and it gives people an idea more of what you're doing, and it's just another way to showcase the stuff that's going on with your fan page and your business. Now, take note. Page tabs have no more default landing pages. What do I mean by that? Well, if you remember the old way that Facebook was, when people would come to your page, they would see a picture there that was about 520 pixels wide. And the good thing about that now is it's been changed to 810 pixels, so you have a bigger area to display a picture of your business or whatever it is you want to put on there. However, what's prohibited now is those photos in that 810 pixel area can no longer have a call to action or arrows or anything. So what do I mean by that? Well, here's an example of McDonald's from before, when the page tab was the way it used to be. They have that, I mean, that's the size right there, so you can see that it's smaller where it says a McNuggets Saucy Challenge. That's smaller then than it is now, so we have all that extra area we can use now. We went from 520 pixels wide to 810 pixels wide, so you can see the difference in what we can really do with that, which is kind of neat. However, what we have lost now that Facebook will no longer let us do is on the timeline we cannot put a call to action like what you see here. So if you notice, it says like us for a free cup of coffee. We were always able to incentivize people when they first come to the page to like us. We could give them a reason, and we can no longer do that. Facebook won't allow it. There's another way to do it, but you can't do it on the landing page like this is now. If you do, Facebook will find out about it and they will disable your account. So if you have, several hundred or several thousand fans, don't make the mistake of doing that. That's a big risk to take. Facebook will find out about it, so don't do that. So, understanding understanding the timeline. Why did they do it? Well, first of all, they wanted to improve the user's experience, because Facebook is the bottom line is making money, and the people that are using Facebook, they want them to be happy with it. They want them to like it. So they're improving the user experience, because it's sort of like they own the toll booth, and the people who come to the toll booth have to pay. And who's paying here the Facebook makes the money from, of course, are the advertisers. So if they have lots of users and they keep them happy, then the advertisers have a direct place to come to advertise their goods, and of course that's how Facebook makes their money. Next, it gives brands and companies and organizations a new way to connect and engage with fans, and you've seen some of that, and a lot of it's good. It really is. Some of it's not as good, but a lot of it is good and even better in some ways. So, of course, there's a trade-off. But now the $64,000 question. How will this change impact my business? How does this impact businesses with existing pages? Well, here's what's got to happen. First of all, it's time to optimize for the new layout. You need to have new art, new copy. If you haven't done it yet, get after it. Don't let it sit there, because you're going to look very unprofessional if you don't. So the other thing is, you need to take your look and consistently brand that across the other social media channels too, such as Twitter and YouTube and such. You're going to have an ongoing maximization for image-centric layout, which means you're going to always want to make it look fresh, make it look nice, and make it look inviting to get people to come. There's also, you're going to want to monitor the friend activity, because that's going to become more and more important, especially lately, because Facebook is going to make it harder, and they already have. They're going to make it harder for fans to see your content, because they want you to promote it, and to promote it you have to pay for that. It's not terribly expensive, but if you did it a lot of times, it could be expensive. So you don't want to make it to where it's not fun to look at and fun to see and that kind of thing. So how does this impact businesses without pages? Well, if you don't have the page, a social media page, a fan page, you are behind the times. It's I mean, they've done studies and shown that this is the new Google, more or less. This is where people are gravitating. This is where you've got to show your stuff. It's free to do, and you can really advertise a lot of things on here, so it's silly not to do it. And not only that, if you are going to have a website and a presence on Google and such, like I said earlier, you're going to want to have your Facebook page set up and optimized, because that's going to help Google decide if you're relevant and they can rank you higher on their search engine so they can show you. So no more excuses. It's time to get involved. So making the switch. How can you get the most out of the timeline layout? Well, first of all, think visual. That's what Facebook originally wanted. We showed you some of the like the McDonald's and the Starbucks layout. So you want to think of your visual layout. What can you convey with your picture? Remember, you can't put any calls to actions, or you can't put a telephone number on your photo. You cannot put a website on there. So now the thing is to entice them to, you know, your picture on there wants to get them thinking about you. You know, what are you about? What are you wanting to convey? Next, now this is pretty neat that Facebook has done that's advantageous for the new change. There are apps on the new tabs, and so what you can do here, like where it says the Starbucks card, that first arrow on there, you can put pictures on there to convey something. So see where Starbucks has that little green card? That's a picture they put in there. You can put anything on there that you want. So let's say you have a contest app that you want to put on there, and you could have a picture on there that represents what you want people to know. So let's say the picture says play this game, and if you win you might get a steak dinner for two, for instance. I don't know, I'm just making that up right now. So they can click on that picture because they saw that, and then when they click on that, it takes them to another page on Facebook, which is part of your page. And then they can start playing a game that shows how to, I don't know, crack a code in a safe, for instance, or maybe a hangman game, or just any kind of a simple game that people like to play. And when they win the game, then perhaps they can win, I don't know, 10% off of a cup of coffee if you're a coffee house, for instance. So there's different ways to engage people and to get them to interact with your social media site. And again, you do want them to interact because Google knows about the interaction, and the more interaction you have, Google's going to assume because of that you are more relevant, and you will have more favor upon you than your competitor who is not as relevant. I hope that makes sense. Now next, the Milestone feature. Again, you can show different pictures of things you got going on, and let people know about what's been happening and where you've been and where you are now. Next, you can star and highlight your best photos or your best posts. Again, if you're going to star or highlight it, what you can do is pick something that you want people to see for sure, and then it'll be in a big picture kind of in the middle of your fan page, and people can take a look at that. Really, the only disadvantage of that is, like I said earlier, it's not at the top and people have to scroll to see it. So you may have to, when you do a Facebook update, point it out to people, hey, come see our best post and such. But like if you were having a sale or something really significant going on, that would be a good place to put it because it's nice and big and doesn't cost you anything to do it, and it's sort of like having your own commercial. So definitely take advantage of that. Next, you can monitor your friend activity a lot closer than before. And as you can see here, there's an area where you can see the friend activity. and you can tell what's going on. Next, here's the admin panel. We talked about this earlier. There's a lot of good information here. You can see if any of your posts have gone viral. You can see how many likes you've got when you got them. You can see how many people you're reaching. It's pretty valuable, and it helps you adjust your posting so that you can tell the kinds of things you're posting. If they're not getting much interaction, you want to post something different that gets more interaction, because you want people to know about you, and you want your friends' friends to know about you. Now here's something you need to know about the cover photos. This is really important. You need to know the rules. So first of all, price or purchase information like 40% off or whatever, you cannot do that. Your contact information like your website address, your email, or information, all of that needs to go into your page's About section. You cannot put that on your timeline photo anymore. And you cannot reference Facebook features such as like or share with an arrow pointing down from the cover photo, because if you do, Facebook will disable you. And again, don't take that risk, especially if you have several hundred or several thousand or several million fans. That would be a big mistake to do. You can't say on there, get it now, or tell your friends, or bring your friends here. You can't do any of that on there now. You have to do it in different ways. Now I know that's a lot of information. I don't know if that overwhelms you or not, but don't let it overwhelm you. I mean, this is something you can do. And if you're overwhelmed or just don't think you have the time to do it, we're here to help. And if you have any questions after this, feel free to get with me a little bit later, and I'll answer your questions. If you need help with your fan page and such, you just let me know, and we'll get everything set up and going. And I look forward to seeing you all the rest of the day. Thank you very much.